Hello, thank you for the International Congress of Psychology. My name is Mastrantonio, and I'm going to present the paper Narratology, the Art of Storytelling in Psychology. Social psychology is in charge of studying the multiple relations between individuals and society. However, one, and if not one of the most important ways of relating individuals and society, has been stories. Human beings are storytellers. They store themselves into reality. Stories represent a vast field, but throughout them, we know that language and its multiple formats have been our faithful companion. Storytelling is not a new habit. The creation, spreading, sharing, printing, and telling of story has been a way to produce contentment, lessons, knowledge, and knowing the world. It has helped us to achieve where we are now, and the telling of the stories, either in difficult or joyful times, has offered us ways to portray the new and keep the old information going. Everybody knows one or more stories, and every story, no matter how simple it may seem, conveys something more than just a set of facts described within a timeline. It is a way of making sense of the world around us, either by providing extraordinary richness in the oral world that allow us to organize our speech, or by the written word, by fighting concept, being convincible, arguing masteries, delineating events. On the overall, the art of storytelling is an ancient and actual practice that goes on with us. Now extremely dependent on technology, it continues to spread its roots and format humanity. The art of storytelling, retelling them, creating new ones, and expanding the literary universe, awakens interest and stimulates the imagination through the construction of multiple worlds. Telling a story continues to exercise our life renewal, our encounters with new possibilities, and the imagination of the future. Narratives brings readers and listeners together in an act of communicative development, either through sound or the written text. Due to its multiplicity, a story, a text, a narrative, provoke us to think anew. Most of the time, those voices continue to live inside the reader, the listener, for a much long time, then it ends. It changes them forever. The interactions with the text or the oral tradition bring ways to reflect on self-criticism, improvisation, and improvement, in new ways of retelling our past and creating our future. In today's society, the act of telling and listening to stories emerges as a liberating possibility for learning. This activity of paramount importance in the construction of knowledge can also benefit the ethical and meaningful development in children, adults, and elderly. Nevertheless, when individuals are given the chance to narrate their own story, something quite miraculous happens as an outcome. When they are heard and share their stories, they become actors and start taking the initiative to build their own lives, with the aim to build an equal society of individuals. We understand that including their voices, attitudes, thoughts, phrases, sentences, is a way to respect their characteristics, providing them with opportunities to develop their abilities, respect their time and interest, and also continue with the art of storytelling. We have seen this lately with the expansion of self-published books. For instance, in the American market, the rise was from 10,000 books published a year to 1 million books published in the past 10 years. This means everybody has a story to tell, but not everyone has the means and the access to tell it. In Marrakesh, likewise, in many other places on earth, there are old-fashioned storytellers, persons who tell stories, and this is an art passed from one generation to another. Now, due to the main use of modern technology, new forms of entertainment, these living books are in danger of disappearing. It is the case of Muley Muhammad, 70 years old, and has been telling story for 45. It's not only the way a story is told, but the way, not only what is the content of that story, but how it is told. Even if someone does not understand a word of what the story is about, it's suspense. His words are like flying there with meaning, emotion, values, philosophies, keeping this tradition alive and making people experience other points of view. Nowadays, there are many other formats of storytelling: articles, essays, poems, diaries, and the list could go on. These are not only objects of literature, but interactive ways to create and boost communication among individuals. Letters, in special, have not been frequently used in research. Most of the times, they are used here and there as a means to curiosity, as document, or about a situation or a fact. But in fact, they bring and highlight a dimension where private and public meet. Sometimes letters are used as biography, historical data, but we understand letters as much more than that. Letters are multidimensional. They connect past and present. They bring intimacy. Letters are approached here as in an organic perspective. The word organic we are taking from Bergson, and we understand it as a method of writing letters to compound a system in which they are a universe in themselves, creating multiple interactions that not only that reader to whom the letter is addressed to. Letters become moving text. They have an historical aspect, but as a moving, living text, they bring the past into life. They do not only present personal annotation, frugalities about everyday living. They transform experience in communicative formats. This discursive production, dating back from 500 years before Christ, with the first recorded handwritten letter by Persian Queen Atossa, according to the ancient historian Hellanicus. She wrote them on leaves of plants and folded and mailed them. Going further than that, we have all the Old New Testament, in which the Bible is written in letters from St. Paul to his friends. By the 18th century, we have, for instance, Samuel Richardson, Pamela, which is composed entirely of letters of a daughter to her parents. If we call last century a soldier's last letter, please, Mr. Postman, I'm going to sit right down and write myself a letter. All of them have maintained the old habit alive. It could go on. In 1839, aboard the ship Beagle, Charles Darwin wrote his research journal with systematic observation on everything that he has seen, and he also wrote letters. Letters are language in action, whose productions and context highlight much more than the description of a land, a relationship. They bring those to life. They tell us stories which were hidden, forbidden, or bleed. Conclusion. The use of letters in research, the incentive to new generation to write letters, the reading of past letters, and the use of letters in everyday living brings more challenges than answers. But it's much more clear now that if we want to promote storytelling as an inclusive resource to a global world, we need to include letter writing, which still has 1 billion of illiterate people who still depend on oral stories. Thank you very much. My email for contact is monica.mastrantonio, all small letters, at york.ac.uk. Thank you.